me good. I've been so obsessed with this game. Limit RO, Ragnarok Online. My character's name is SaltE. All the information in the description box below. Join me. Let's destroy some monsters. Alright, so we need to go pick up some cornstarch and baking soda because that is the King of Random's recipe that we're using. Guys, I'm watching your recipe. Don't think I don't see it. We try. Alright, so we have cornstarch over here at $1.99 for about a pound. And then afterwards, for $5, 2 kilos of baking soda. It says good for cooking and cleaning. They forgot clay making. It's pretty big. Can't even reach. Short people problems. There we go. Alright, you're next. I'm gonna use you so good. You asked for it. Here's my total. Now that we have our stuff, let's get cooking. Wow. So in essence, we need baking soda, cornstarch, food colorant, and or acrylic paint if you don't want to use food colorant. Oh, and of course, water. All right, so here we go with half a cup of cornstarch. Ah, dang nabbit. Full cup of baking soda. And then finally a 3/4 cup of water. So before we turn the oven on, we're supposed to dilute this completely in the water, which seems a little ambitious because it doesn't look like there's enough water, but I'll trust their method. Oh my god, come on. Alright, so first things first, what I noticed is that it's not as liquidy as what they showed. It's kind of more like an icing sugar, pretty syrupy. Now we have to put it on medium heat and boil it down until it supposedly looks like mashed potatoes. Okay, so now we're supposed to let it cool down, so we're gonna spritz this paper towel with water so it doesn't dry up. This week's shoutouts go to Carrie or Kyrie, I hope I'm saying your name right, and she sent me a letter in my P.O. box with a full illustrated booklet, manga, comic book. So I'll definitely show you guys that one probably in my Instagram story, so make sure you check that out. And Lady Lushkin, who suggested some good challenges for Angel to pick from next time. If you want a shout out in my Friday videos, don't forget to hashtag Nerdification Squad in the comment section below within the first 45 minutes of a video's release, or hashtag NerdEcrafter on Instagram anytime with any of your creations. Some of you are asking what my P.O. box is. I'll leave it also in the description box below. Oh my god, this is both terrifying and exciting at the same time. So it's had enough time to cool down, and it has this kind of super soft texture, and it's not very gooey, but it does stick to each other. My guess is we're going to need water from time to time to actually make it stick because it'll get crumbly. So I'm going to put it in a Ziploc and then color most of it in a red because I'm going to attempt to make a boitata from the game Ragnarok. So even if you don't know the game, that's okay. It's a cool looking serpenty, dragony type looking earthy creature. That is the worst description I could have given. Just trust me and look at the picture. All right, let's put this away with just a little bit of a spritz of water. Need to keep things moist. I hate that word. Oh my god. Oh, that is heavy. The King of Random did mention that we could use paint and or food coloring to actually color it, so I'm gonna use paint. I feel like I'm doing something pretty intricate. A couple of drops of red. Yeah, that is definitely not enough. Maybe I could do a mixture of both paint and food coloring. If there's anything I learned in my 5 minutes of trying to mix the colors, is that this is an absolute mess. I mean, just look. Because it's so crumbly, it's going everywhere. I suggest use a bowl. Don't be a Jackie.
Bruh.
Look at this mess. Here are the steps we're doing. Now that we have our red-ish clay, it'll never get too red because the base is white, so, you know, pink, color theory by NerdEcrafter. The next step's to do an armature. The armature is going to be the base, because if we start making thick pieces, firstly, it's going to crack, secondly, it's just going to fall apart. So I'm going to use wire, foil paper, and a glue gun to get it on a base. And then some of the pieces, especially if you look at the picture, you'll see that it has branches. I want to make these and then put them in the oven to see if I can accelerate accelerate the actual dry time, which would be kind of cool. Let's stop delaying and let's do the doing. So from what I've heard about this clay is that it wants to break apart, just crumble and everything. So the best thing I could think of was making an armature so that we can place our pieces right on top. It's really hard to handle. Think of it as using a pie crust. That's the texture that we're getting. It's that difficult. Two things you should know. Keep a spritz of water nearby to make sure that it doesn't get too crumbly. And secondly, what does it feel like? It feels like chalk. It's not unpleasant. It's actually pretty fun. Usually for polymer clay, I would use liquid Sculpey, but we're not doing that today, guys. We're going to be using just normal glue. Now, when it comes to this recipe, it sticks to the things you don't want it to stick. And then when you want it to stick on, itself, you have to use water. And then when you want to make texture, it's like, I don't want to really take texture, so you try to smooth it down with water so it starts dissolving. It's like I'm complaining so much because you can see it gets really crumbly, really messy. Your hands start feeling like chalk and cornstarch. So yeah, it's not exactly a walk in the park. Another downside, you gotta wait for it to dry before you can do the next step, so let's put it in the sun. I don't know if that's gonna work, but let's do it. All right, so I'm hoping a little bit of sunshine is gonna make this a little harder, not crumbly. King of random, this better be a good recipe. Splinter, you better not knock it down, buddy. Look, we want to talk to you. Catitude, am I right?
Time for a tiny intermission. This video is not sponsored, even though I have taken my sponsor voice. I'm not sure what this is.
The monster I'm making is from Ragnarok Online, which is an online RPG in which your characters look absolutely adorable and fully customizable. The server I'm playing on is called Limit RO, and I'm having so much fun playing there that I figured I would love for you guys to come on that server and help me
destroy some dungeons.
So you can do everything from huge parties and bash monsters, to sit down, chat, relax with your friends, to solo gaming and absolutely destroy things without any kind of help whatsoever. So if you're looking for a game to play, I'll leave all the information in the description box below. My character is called SaltE. Join me. Come to the dark side. If you try to roll pieces with this recipe, it's probably going to get smushed or distorted if it's not moist enough. Yes, I did say the word again. And if you try to add pieces to it, it probably won't stick very well. I'm really starting to doubt the recipe by the King of Random, just because I tried to smooth pieces in together, it just wouldn't have it, firstly. Secondly, I tried to use barely. My finger was just a little humid with water, and what ends up happening is that it starts dissolving. Another thing, I left this outside in direct sunlight for about 45 minutes. It's still super soft, super crumbly, so I'm gonna try another method to see if we can accelerate the actual dry time. So I made 2 antlers, as the boychata has, and I'm gonna put it in my oven as convection on the lowest possible heat, because I mean, this is supposed to be air dry, right? It's supposed to evaporate whatever water is holding it. I highly doubt I'll be able to get any detail if it keeps up like that. I am so surprised. It is out of the oven. I left it in there at 175 degrees convection Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. Needless to say, it did work. So it is a lot harder, and I can keep it straight up and put it into the head. So this is super exciting. You can bake this recipe. Something you should also note, this is the initial color, and this is the color it turned after it dried. So whatever color you think you're making it, make it a little darker because it does get lighter. This is a learning experience for both of us here. We're both learning. Now for the hard part. Let's make the body. The trick to working with this kind of recipe is to be very patient, because it wants nothing to do with you. So you're gonna be like, you know what, I really want us to be friends here. So you have to work very slowly. I spent so much time smoothing pieces together and not with water, because once you start adding water, it wants to dissolve, right? These are 2 powders that we're adding extra water onto. So at this point, you just have to barely make your fingers a little wet and then tap it really lightly until they figure out, oh, I need to blend. So yeah, you gotta treat it very gingerly. Be very delicate with it. When it comes to detail, it's just, oh my gosh, it doesn't want to hold it. It doesn't want to hold the detail. Try not to use pointy things like I did. Try to use the thicker parts of it because I find that that's what works the best. This has got to be, so far, one of the challenging pieces of clay I've ever used. It actually almost makes Crayola seem like professional clay. It's that hard. I'm going to let it harden for a day or two because I can't put it in the oven because we used glue gun and normal glue, so I have to wait like a normal person. After it's fully hardened, I'm going to go in with acrylic paints. I think the detail is going to make this either an amazing piece of sculpture, considering it's bad clay, or it's just going to look like we're patching up a bunch of potholes. We actually have to do a prayer because we don't know if this is going to stay as it is. I know that it does shrink, so put your hands together. Dear drying gods of evermore, please protect my piece from shrinkage, crackage, and fallen limbs. And also, stop breaking my stuff! Good morning guys, Pooh Face here, and I have a confession to make. I never pretended to be a patient person, so what I ended up doing is putting this piece in the oven for about 40 minutes at 175 degrees Fahrenheit. And guess what? It actually did work. We are the next day because I didn't want to risk, destroying my progress. So as you can see here, it did get much lighter because it has hardened. So we're going to go ahead and paint it, and look what I have. Bells, because on the picture of the monster, it has bells. So can we actually call this air dry clay, or can we technically also call it polymer clay, because you could bake it? I was so excited when it came to painting it. Now, here's another lesson. This piece or this recipe will not give you an even finish. This here is right after 4 coats of paint. It just wouldn't give me an even finish, which is kind of cool because, nothing in real life is one solid color, so you had blemishes here and there, so it kind of worked out. Remember how I said pieces don't want to stick together? No fear, glue gun is here. Holy cow. Just to put things in perspective, this sculpture started from cornstarch and baking soda. So, all things considered, this is not too bad. Let me know if you think I did okay. Vote and let me know if it's not too bad or meh. So the recipe itself is not going to be that strong. Whatever you create is going to be very temporary. I took my time making this. Just so you have an idea, this sculpture took me about 10 hours to put together. Actually, more than that. So here's a piece of the air dry clay that was also hardened, and you're going to see it's not as hard as you might think it is, but it can break. Remember, if you want to check out Ragnarok online, specifically the server that I'm on, Limit RO, check it in the description box below. If you see me around under the name SaltE, feel free to party me up and let's go bash some monsters. One of the things I wish I could do was pretty much add more texture, but because it is a gooey, crumbly kind of clay, it's not exactly the most ideal for smoothing. If you want to watch a SaltE video, make sure that you click up here, and if you want to watch a crafty video again, make sure you click down there. Until then, I will see you guys in the next video.